Hi, it's Frankie here at the ChampionSoccerAcademy.com, where we help young football mad players to boost their confidence, to accelerate their skills, to improve their attitude so they can be happy and successful on and off the pitch. So today's video is about when is the best time to get scouted. Now, I'm not going to talk today about the pros and cons of actually aspiring to be a player, the chances of making it and all that sort of stuff. I'm simply going to talk about when is the best time to go in and, take advantage of an opportunity at a professional club, because that's another issue of whether players are, should be going in and all that sort of stuff and the chances of making it. That's another issue. Today I'm going to talk about when is the best time to actually go in and get scouted. So the landscape has changed completely over the last 20 years, certainly from when I was growing up and making my way in the game, where players were picked up in their teenage years, usually anything from early to mid to late teens. Professional clubs were picking up players, certainly not what we have today, which is players getting picked up at 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, with much younger in their development. So naturally, for the clubs, it's in their interests to get as many players as they can in, to have a look at what's out there, because they want to find the next star. It's as simple as that. From a player's point of view, it may or may not be the best time to go in at a younger age. It may be better to go in later, and I'm going to talk a little bit about when is actually the best time to go in. So the problem with a lot of players going in, and so many more going in now at a younger age, is that at the local level, young players are very much aware. So in any local team, there's a good chance that at least one or two players, maybe even more, have been picked up by a professional club. So players are playing for their local team. Oh, well, why is my friend being picked and why is he being picked and I haven't? So that's the first one, is they have a sense of, well, I've been overlooked. And a lot of players have actually been in at pro clubs and had experience and then been released. So they have a sense of rejection. What's wrong with me? I'm not good enough. And very often they feel like they want to give up the game, which is really sad. So that's why this topic is so important. When is the best time to actually go in and get scouted? So I'm going to talk about two big mistakes that players make when it comes to this topic. So number one is actually chasing the dream before they're ready. Chasing trials, chasing opportunities. I want to get into this team, or maybe even signing for another local team because they feel that they've got a better chance of getting scouted and that kind of thing. So that's a big mistake if you're not actually getting ready to take advantage of those opportunities. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you get ready for those in a second. Another big one is when players have that sense of rejection and being overlooked, they kind of give up and they say, what's the point? And really sadly, a lot of players lose heart and fall out of love with the game. So, the analogy I always like to use is that we have this crazy thing in football where everyone chases the dream, but they don't want to, it's like Dolly Parton said, they want the rainbow, but they don't want to put up with the rain. And, imagine an Olympic athlete or a young boy or a young girl who wanted to be an Olympic athlete, and the only time they ever go training, I made a joke about it in one of the blogs that I wrote last year sometime, I think it was, where I said, imagine a young player going through Portena and St Thomas, where I'm from, and the only time he gets any exercise is when he's running away from the police because they're chasing him once a month, because he's done something naughty. Can you imagine that kid saying to you, I want to be an Olympic athlete and I get my training by running once a month, or once a week through the streets of Portena, and that's the training I do. Can you imagine someone telling you that? Well, it's just as crazy when you've got a player who only plays for maybe a local team. Maybe he trains once a week and plays a game on the weekend. Maybe he plays a little bit of football in school. It would be crazy to think he's going to be an Olympic athlete, a professional footballer, just by doing that small amount of training. So, it's the same in other sports. It's right across the board, whether it's boxing, gymnastics, swimming. There's people out there right now that were getting up, this morning, that were getting up and doing an hour, maybe even 2 hours of training before they went to school, and there's no like pot of gold at the end of that. Not very often, not a lot of money involved. They're doing it purely for the love of the sport and the inherent value that it brings. The parents recognise the character building, the fitness, the friendships they develop through the sport. But in football, with all the money that's involved, all the crazy stuff that's involved in football, but yet very few players in my experience actually put the time in and devote themselves to their sport. So that's where we come on to, the secrets of success and actually getting ready to get scouted, the best time to get scouted. So number one is to, no matter what happens, always maintain your love for the game. If you love the game, play it because you love it. Don't play it because where you might get into. Of course, at some point in the future, you're going to have one eye on where you want to get to, but be in the now and enjoy the game for what it is, because that's the only thing that's going to sustain you through all the training you're going to need to do to actually get ready. Okay, that's the only thing, because it's amazing how many kids and parents are shocked at the amount of training involved in becoming a professional footballer. And yet, the swimmers are out there doing 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week. The gymnasts are out there doing 15, 20 hours a week. In athletics, it can be very often the same. So, if you love it, play it because you love it. And then that's going to sustain you through all the training you're going to need to do to actually fulfill your potential. So this is where, a lot of players go wrong, is by chasing opportunities before they're ready. And what you want to do instead is, instead of chasing, attracting opportunities. So it's a little bit like, the parents who, have done a bit of dating in their time will understand the difference between chasing and attracting. So, it's like the old saying, it'll happen when you least expect it, or when you're not looking for it. And it's because you're out there enjoying yourself, doing what you love, and then things come to you. It's the same in football. So where the real opportunity lies is not in getting scouted at a young age, actually, although it can work for some. Is the real opportunity is getting the opportunity to improve. And that will come through a number of things. Number one, it'll come through the right environment. An environment where it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay if you're not quite ready. It's okay to grow and develop and be yourself and develop your confidence and refine your skills. Number two is, actually having good role models, people you can look up to, get support from, people who are going to understand what makes you tick. And if you're attending trial after trial or joining teams here, there and everywhere, then sometimes it can be very difficult to build up any confidence or momentum, because, it's like the old saying, another old saying, a rolling stone gathers no moss. So, you need to put down some roots where you are in a very good environment, and then you will grow naturally from there. So, and another big part of that opportunity is finding the best coaching, because if you can find the best coaching, and that is the number one key to improving you as a player. There's nothing more important than getting good coaching and good support. And if that can be impartial support from people who just want the best for you and will support you in your development, in your career, then that's there's nothing better than that. So with all the ups and downs that you're going through, then that can sustain you through everything that you're doing. So, and that means that when you're actually ready, when you've developed your skills, you've got to a point where you're starting to stand out. And that's what we find at TCSA. We've had 17 boys signed over the last 4 years by professional clubs. And what we find is, when they start to improve, they just focus on enjoying their game and getting good coaching and responding to that. Then all of a sudden they start standing out and the opportunities come. When the opportunities come, then it's about making the right decision. Is he actually ready to, take advantage of a trial at a professional club? So what does he need to take advantage? Number one, he needs to be full of confidence. And I mean full of confidence. Have a deep-rooted belief in himself, that he's got the ability to go in and be successful at that level. So, that will come through experience. It will come through believing in himself every day, having positive messages. But you can't just, have that belief if you haven't put the work in. You have to put the work in as well. The other side of it then is you know, I always say it's not necessarily going to be a good thing just to get a trial. You want to be ready to make an impact and get into the top bracket of that professional club. So at every club, what they have is they have a top, a middle, and a bottom level. So even the boys who might have been there for 2 or 3 years, they might be in that bottom bracket, and kind of like the trap door is there, you know, where they could be released at any minute. And then you've got the middle bracket, you've got the top bracket. I always say the most fun place to be is in that top bracket, because that's where, you know, you'll get better feedback, you'll have more success, and you'll get more momentum by being in the top bracket. It doesn't mean that you can't pull yourself up from the bottom or the middle bracket, but if you're going to go in, the best way to go in is with a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum, so that you can do that. Now, the real opportunity to get scouted in terms of age, like I say, it can work if you get scouted at a young age, but very often players who are successful, you know, they will have more success going in when they are a little bit older. So in our opinion at Champion Soccer Academy, the best time to get scouted is around about 14 years old, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit earlier. But there's been, you know, we've had a couple of players last year, one boy who went in at 13 and he's now doing exceptionally well. We've had boys going in a little bit younger than that. You know, some have done very well, some haven't. So the boys who've gone in a little bit later and actually spent time getting ready, building their confidence, and not just their confidence, their social skills as well, so they can make eye contact with new people, they can shake hands, they can talk to coaches. It's, you know, the technical skills are only a very small part of being ready to take an advantage at a pro club. So we've seen it, if you've been watching the programme Class of 92, Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs and Nicky Butt have just bought Salford City, well last year they bought Salford City Football Club, and they had a young player there who, believe it or not, couldn't get into the team at Salford, which is a non-league team, yet they saw something in him at 20 years old, and then they get him a trial at Man United, and now he's actually playing for Man United. So it still can happen at the older age, and the reason why it's happened for him is that he's actually ready. He's actually kept developing his skills right up until he's 20 years of age. So that's it from me. There's no one good time to go into a pro club. The time to go in is when you're ready and you've got your confidence is high, your skill levels is high, and your social skills are high, and you're actually ready to go in and take advantage. Okay, see you soon.